Due to the comments made about the audio in this video, I've made a new audio track. It is a reading of Don Harkins' Slavery in 8 Bells. Note that the new audio track will not be in sync with the timing of this video. The new audio should make it easier to understand the material. I hope you enjoy it. From the December 2001 Idaho Observer, Slavery in 8 Bells by Don Harkins. Over the last several years, I have evolved and discarded several theories in an attempt to explain why it is that most people cannot see truth, even when it smacks them in the face. Those of us who can see the conspiracy have participated in countless conversations among ourselves that address the frustration of most people's inability to comprehend extremely well-documented arguments which we use to describe the process of our collective enslavement and exploitation. The most common explanation to be arrived at is that most people just don't want to see what's really going on. Extremely evil men and women who make up the world's power elite have cleverly cultivated a virtual pasture so grass-green that few people seldom, if ever, bother to look up from where they're grazing long enough to notice the brightly colored tags stapled to their ear. The same people who cannot see their enslavement for the pasture grass have a tendency to view as insane conspiracy theorists those of us who can see past the farm and into the parlor of the feudal lord's castle. I finally understand why. It's not that those who do not see that their freedom is vanishing under the leadership of the power elite don't want to see it. They simply cannot see what is happening to them because of the unpierced veils that block their view. All human endeavors are a filtration process. Sports is one of the best examples. We play pacifist sports until we get kicked off the playground. The pro athletes we pay big bucks to watch just never got kicked off the playground. Where millions of kids play Little League each spring, they are filtered out until there are about 50 guys who go to the World Series in October. Behind the first veil. There are over 6 billion people on the planet. Most of them live and die without having seriously contemplated anything other than what it takes to keep their lives together. 90% of all humanity will live and die without having pierced the first veil. The first veil. 10% of us will pierce the first veil and find the world of politics. We will vote, be active, and have an opinion. Our opinions are shaped by the physical world around us. We have a tendency to accept that government officials, network media personalities, and other experts are voices of authority. 90% of people in this group will live and die without having pierced the second veil. The second veil. 10% of us will pierce the second veil to explore the world of history, the relationship between man and government, and the meaning of self-government through constitutional and common law. 90% of people in this group will live and die without having pierced the third veil. The third veil. 10% of us will pierce the third veil to find that the resources of the world, including people, are controlled by extremely wealthy and powerful families, whose incorporated old world assets have, with modern extortion strategies, become the foundation upon which the world's economy is currently indebted. 90% of people in this group will live and die without having pierced the fourth veil. The fourth veil. 10% of us will pierce the fourth veil to discover the Illuminati, Freemasonry, and the other secret societies. These societies use symbols and perform ceremonies that perpetuate the generational transfer of arcane knowledge that is used to keep the ordinary people in political, economical, and spiritual bondage to the oldest bloodlines on earth. 90% of people in this group will live and die without having pierced the fifth veil. The fifth veil. 10% of us will pierce the fifth veil to learn that the secret societies are so far advanced technologically that time travel and interstellar communications have no boundaries, and controlling the action of people is what their members do as offhandedly as we tell our children when they must go to bed. 90% of people in this group will live and die without having pierced the sixth veil. The sixth veil. 10% of us will pierce the sixth veil, where the dragons and lizards and aliens we thought were fictional monsters of childhood literature are real and are the controlling forces behind the secret societies. 90% of people in this group will live and die without having pierced the seventh veil. The seventh veil. I do not know what is behind the seventh veil. I think it is where your soul has evolved to the point you can exist on earth and be the man Gandhi was, or the woman Peace Pilgrim was. People so enlightened they brighten the world around them no matter what. The eighth veil. Piercing the eighth veil probably reveals God and the pure energy that is the life force in all living things, which are, I think, one and the same. If my math is accurate, there are only about 60,000 people on the planet who have pierced the sixth veil. The irony here is too incredible. Those who are stuck behind veils 1 through 5 have little choice but to view people who have pierced the veils beyond them as insane. With each veil pierced, exponentially shrinking number of increasing enlightened people are deemed insane by exponentially increasing masses of decreasingly enlightened people. Adding to the irony, the harder a sixth or better veiler tries to explain what he is able to see to those who cannot, the more insane he appears to them. Our enemy, the state. Behind the first 2 veils we find the great majority of people on the planet. They are tools of the state. Second veilers are the gullible voters who ignorantly justify the action of politicians who send the first veilers off to die in foreign lands as cannon fodder. Their combined station in life are to believe that the self-serving machinations of the power elite are matters of national security worth dying for. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth veilers are of increasing liability to the state because of their decreasing ability to be used as tools to consolidate power and wealth of the many into the hands of the power elite. It is common for these people to sacrifice more of their relationships with friends and family, their professional careers, and personal freedoms with each veil they pierce. Albert J. Nock, author of Our Enemy the State, explained what happens to those who find 7th and 8th veils. What was the best the state could find to do with an actual Socrates and an actual Jesus when they had them? Merely to poison one and crucify the other, for no reason but that they were too intolerably embarrassing to be allowed to live any longer. Conclusions. And so we now know that it is not that our countrymen are so committed to their lives that they don't want to see the mechanisms of their enslavement and exploitation. They simply cannot see, as surely as I cannot see what is on the other side of a closed curtain. The purpose of this essay is threefold: to help the handful of people in the latter veils to understand why the masses have little choice but to interpret their clarity as insanity. 2. To help people behind the first 2 veils to understand that living, breathing, and thinking are just the beginning. And 3. To show people that the greatest adventure of our lives is behind the next veil, because that is just one less veil between ourselves and God.